I welcome you all on a sixth webinar of series, which is on parent engagement matters. We are doing a series of webinar for school focused on few key things for school, which school can focus post-pandemic. And the topics which we have covered so far is bringing student back to the school, gearing up a school post-pandemic, learning strategies, classroom management. Even on coming days, we'll be doing some webinars for school. Today we'll start with parent engagement matters. I'll start with today's agenda. We'll start with introduction, session objective, followed by context, barrier to low parent engagement, benefit of parent engagement, benefits of parent engagement, strategies to increase parent engagement, followed by Varthana program, and a feedback and closing. So we'll quickly start with an introduction. So here I'll launch a poll to understand the participant profile. So I'll request everyone to fill the responses. I have launched poll. I'll request everyone to participate, please. People are voting. I'll just wait for a couple of seconds and then we'll start. So I'll publish the result. So we have principal and school coordinators, school leaders, and people from other organization. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope today's webinar will add some value for you and your school. So, yeah. So today's objective is to understand parents' role in child and school development and discuss strategies to increase parent engagement. So we all know what is parent engagement, but today we'll be focusing on two types of parent engagement. So let's understand what parent engagement is. So parent engagement is a building authentic collaborative relationship between parents, students, school, and community for the children to succeed in their life. And there are research, a lot of research which has proven that the student learn best when school and family and community come together and collaborate and work together to achieve the outcome. So today, as I said, that we'll be focusing on two kind of parent parent engagement. One is engagement with school and the other is engagement at home. So parent engagement with school is where schools are involving and actively engaging and communicating with parents to include them in the learning process of the student, where our parent is interacting directly with the school to ensure that learning is happening for the children, and also school is collaborating and interacting with school. This the main benefit of this is that it opens up the space to communicate with the parents, and even parents got the opportunity to communicate with the school openly, and it builds a very strong and healthy relationship between school and parents. So this engagement plays a crucial role, and moving on, we'll deep dive into it and understand how it pans out for school. So a few of the things which schools are generally indulged in are through PTA meetings and volunteer activities. We'll be exploring more strategies moving on. The other kind of parent engagement is parent engagement at home, when a parent is engaged with the child actively and support in the learning and encourage the child at home in learning and growing and developing holistically. So these are through monitoring some homework and discussing the day, how was the day, a bit about the friends and all. So these are the two engagements which we'll be focusing on in today's webinar as well. So we all know that COVID-19 has changed the outlook of education in India and in the entire world. There is a lot of shift in multiple ways, like from the learning patterns to the engagement to the income, engagement with the school, with the teachers, with the parent. Everything has shifted a lot. So we'll be exploring how the learning pattern has changed and disrupted, what's the situation of income, parents income, parent engagement, and what is the correlation between parent engagement and the learning outcome. So here we have some data from ASAR and Oxfam India, reports where there is a clear decline of 10% in learning level of like there's a, decline of learning level, sorry. So there is like a student is able to retain only 10% of one language ability and 20% of maths. So hardly like 90% of whatever they knew is forgotten. Also, it's been observed through a lot of research that 59% of the parent report decrease in income in some form, and many lost their income as well. 71% of the parent were able to supervise the study time, but there's no clear concrete data that it's like it's only the supervision, or were they able to like contribute in it or help them or guide them through a study. It's just supervision. And 52% of the student perform consistently high with high parent engagement. So this data clearly show that wherever the parent engagement is high, the student performance is better, and students are performing consistently high. So this data is important because there's a like different scenario pre-COVID. Like learning level was consistent, kids were aware, there was need of foundational building, but still comparatively performance was quite good, and income was also consistent. So these things are also somewhere causing decline in parent engagement. There are other causes also, but there is a clear shift in parent engagement. So here I'll ask. I would like to like get some responses from all the participants. Key, what are the shifts which you are have like been seeing or have seen so far pre and post COVID in parent engagement? What are the things you have observed or came across in terms of parent engagement? So I'll request everyone, all the participants, if they want to share something, they can raise their hand and share. We all agree that there is some sort of shift in engagements, not only parent engagement. There's a shift in learning pattern. There's a shift in uh, pedagogy, the delivery method, and everything. So I'll request everyone if like if they want to share something on the shift they have observed related to parent engagement. Okay, so as I've mentioned that there are like some major shift in the learning pattern, learning levels, the dropout rates, and these things. It's important to understand these shifts to explore more that how these shift needs to be addressed and what schools can do to address these shifts. So few of the shifts which school has observed, or a shift in parents life, is there was this consistent income pre-COVID. They were quite regular with the fee payment, parents were quite regular with the fee payment, there was timely admission, they were highly interested in buying books and other material from the school. Parents were involved in meeting and gathering, uh, like meeting and coming for events and other things. Some were able to support in learning also at home. But as COVID has shifted a lot of things, there was shift in parent engagement as well. There's a drastic drop in income level of parent, and there's a lot of reverse migration. People shifted back to their places, and that causes a lot of decline in school admission. School was facing there was poor fee payment because of decline in income, and that also leads to poor fee payment. And parents were not that responsive and participative with the school because they don't see much value in online education. There was high attrition of teachers and student both, because things quite shifted for teachers as well. They were not being paid timely, and there was and many parents were unsure, and still now for pre-primary many parents are still unsure about the admission and improve. But there is one positive aspect which happened, and the positive shift, that there is improvement in learning at home. So these are the shifts which has happened in parent engagement. Earlier there was better engagement, but now the engagement has gone down. But it's really important to question this thing here, that how this shift has impacted the school. So the moment there is drop in income, or the moment there is migration, there is low enrollment in the school. If the capability of a parent is of paying fees going down, fee collection is an issue for school. If parents are not responsive, it's difficult for school, and it's an additional work for schools to reach out to them and ask them to cooperate for these things. And hence it also impacts the teacher attrition rate, because it's a burden for teachers. And moving on, admission plays a major role in school development. And if people are not sure about the admission, it's impacting the school and the growth in short term and long term. And learning level, there's a clear data which we have discussed earlier. There's a clear decline in enrollment, and there is clear decline in learning level, and which is again very crucial for school to build their brand image. So it's important to understand these shifts, recognize these shifts, and work on it. And it's important to engage with parents, because all these things are directly impacting students and school. Before we understand and jump into it, that how it impacts student and school, let's discuss what are the some barriers which are responsible for low parent engagement. One of the biggest challenge which is the attitude. So every time, like in Varthana also, we work with a lot of schools, and one of the common complaint which we get to hear from teachers, school, or parents is attitude, school attitude towards parents, and parents attitude towards school. So parents assume that once the student is going to the school, then it's no more their responsibility, and they are no more accountable for it, because they are paying fee, they are sending them to the school, and now it's school's responsibility. And also there's lack of coordination and cooperation from teachers, and they have this trust issue that parents are willing to put effort or contribution, though the contribution is low due to some issues which we'll discuss later. But yeah, like there is a lot of reluctance from teachers, and also to indulge parent in the engagement. The other cause of low parent engagement is lack of skills and motivation. As we have seen the data, that there were many parents who were able to supervise, but they lack the awareness to support and indulge in the process. So they don't have the skill set to indulge in. So for example, as a parent, I want to teach my kid, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to handle the behavior, or how to make the kid concentrate for a certain duration, or what can be the ways to engage the kids. So parents generally lack these skills, and teacher also have a lot of reluctance to share and indulge in sharing and creating this awareness among parents to gain these skills. There's a lack of engagement programs. So many times the engagement program which is offered by schools to parents is not something they see much of value attached to. So in PTA meetings, generally schools share the student performance or the progress report. So they assume that end of the day the progress report is coming to home, so they don't see much value attached to it. They consider it less to go to school and spend that time. But if there are effective engaging programs for school, where they feel that their development is attached and associated to it, the child development and development is associated to it, the willingness to be part of the engagement, or the willingness to contribute in student learning will definitely grow. There are also some logistic issue. Many times parents don't have access to transportation. Like many times the meetings are kept in a duration where parents are not available, either they are on work or indulge in some other work. And many times they have to take leave to attend these meetings, which is quite difficult and feasible, which impacts their again the monetary benefit, which parents don't want to compromise on. So these are a few of the parent engagement barriers from parents, and there are some from school ends as well. The major is lack of coordination and cooperation, and bringing them on the same plate to help them engage. So I'm sure like we all work with school and aware that these are few barriers, but I would like to hear from you all that what barriers you have seen in your school. And for this, I'm going to launch another poll. I'll request everyone to give their inputs. It's a multiple choice question. You can opt for multiple options. I'll request everyone to vote, please. I have launched the poll. We'll wait for a minute to get the responses. I request everyone to please vote. We have only 8 votes out of 23 participants. Okay, I'll publish the poll results. So the most voted is attitude and lack of skill and motivation. That's true. Like as I have said initially, that one of the major challenge is in the attitude of parents and teachers towards school, and parent engagement plays a major role. So we have seen that there are barriers which you have seen in the school, but let's also discuss that why it's important to address these barriers and why it's important to address these barriers post COVID. As we have discussed that there is shift and it has impacted schools and student, and if we'll deal and indulge in these things in parent engagement, how this would benefit student in school. So I'll request everyone if they want to uh, share their views on it, that why do you think it's important to address these barriers, and it's important to encourage parents to involve more and more in with schools and children learning. You can raise your hand. For those who are new, who have joined recently, I'll give you access to speak once you'll raise your hand. Okay. So it's important to address these issues because when there's shift in learning loss, there is a clear gap in learning level of the student. Also, there's decline in admission. There is high absenteeism even when schools are open. uh, Parents, students are not performing that well. They're not coming regularly to the school. There are behavioral issues. There are a lot of things which has changed, which was going okay pre-pandemic, and this all is somewhere impacting school to a great extent. That is in terms of fee collection, the revenue generation, the teacher quality and retention, these things. So we'll focus on two things: what are the benefits for school if they indulge in parent engagement, and what are the benefits for students if parents are indulgent uh, student development with school. So first benefit for school is low absenteeism. So if a student is absent from school for more than 10 days in a year, then it's considered as the student is considered as one of those who is like absent or not very regular with the school. So these days the low absenteeism has increased to another level, and it's also causing dropout because due to consistently being absent from classroom, a child is struggling to cope up in the classroom, and because of that there is learning gap, and after a point a child is no more feeling confident enough to come back to the school, and that also causes this decline in admission and enrollment in the school. The other benefit for school is better cash flow. So if a student is regular coming and learning what they're supposed to, parent have this reputation and view about the school, that school is able to deliver what is required. And ultimately, once they get the satisfaction that the learning is happening, they are better with the fee payment. And that has happened in past. There are a lot of research data showing that where school have indulged in parent engagement and have communicated with parents during the pandemic, or make them include in the learning process, they were able to collect fee way more better and compared to those who fail to do that or fail to maintain any sort of communication. uh, Again, I think I have covered in absenteeism only, that the moment there is parent engagement, there is better output in terms of learning and high retention. Also, there is trust building from parents and on school, that the school is delivering what is expected, and that causes high retention. Also, a parent engagement help teachers to do better in the school, because they share the responsibility and burden with the parent, where they get to know strength and weaknesses, the behavioral patterns, and they can also seek some help from teachers, from parents, to deal with these issues. And that also make teacher retention comparatively better in compared to those places where parent engagement is low. Hence, this improved and enhances the overall operations of the school, which schools are struggling with a lot post pandemic, because the lack of resources, their lack of uh, staff, there's lack of profits, and there's decline in profits, and all there's increase in cost of marketing. So all these the parent engagement can solve all these issues for school. So the management can focus on running and pay more and more attention on the academic development of the school. Benefit for the student, again, a child spend like 60 to 80% of their time in the school, and it's been observed through a lot of the researchers that whatever a child learns, they learn more from the environment and home in compared to the school. So when a parent is involved and indulged, there is direct impact on the learning. There's a seen improvement in grades and their performance in the classroom. There is socio emotional security which a child achieve and attain when parents are engaged. They feel acknowledged, validated, their feelings are acknowledged and validated. They feel valued at school as well as at home when there is parent engagement, which boosts their morale. There's also impact on overall personality. Students, again, there are a lot of research data shows that where there is parent involvement, there is better behavior. Uh, Student project better behavior in such cases, and they are more grounded, they are more polite, mannerful. So that impacts their overall personality. And there's also improvement self-esteem. Students are comparatively more confident due to all the validation and support they are getting from the environment, which includes school, peers, and parents. They also have feel this sense of worthiness and get this confidence to achieve whatever they want. So these are some benefits of parent engagement. So that is for sure that parent engagement is required, and I'm sure everyone, like every school, is trying to indulge and incorporate some strategies to uh, increase this engagement more and more. But as we have discussed, that there are certain barriers for that, which we can definitely overcome using some strategies. So before we move into it and discuss in detail, I would like to know from you all that what are the strategies which you're using currently or have used in past to increase parent engagement. So again, I'll request everyone to like either raise their hand and okay, sorry, I can see two people raising their hand. You can raise your hand and share your views on how, like, what strategies are you using in the school to increase parent engagement. So I'll unmute Hingo. I'm not sure. I'll allow you to talk. Uh, you can unmute yourself and share your views on this. I have unmuted. Can I'll request, I'm not sure, there's this participants called Hingo. I'll request if you want to share something, you can please go ahead and share. Okay, so I'll move on with the presentation. I'm not sure, maybe there is some issue. So the strategies which schools are using so far is great, but it's also evident that it's not proven very effective for the school, and there are a lot of challenges which student and parents are facing along with school to cater and come together to figure out the best possible way for student to learn and grow. So here we'll be sharing and discussing few strategies which school can incorporate and help to like get more and more parent engagement, strategies to increase parent engagement. So communication plays a major role. The other is volunteering, learning at home, involvement in decision making and advocacy, collaboration with community. So one by one we'll discuss all these strategies in detail, and also we'll see some of the ways of implementing these strategies, some quick tips how we can do this. So we'll start with communication. Communication is an effective way to exchange information between school and parents, and many times what happens is communication is mostly one way. It's like school communicating things to the parents, but it's important to create a platform where it's an open space for school and parents to communicate effectively and share their views. So from school end, they can do it through text messages or reminders through school information system. These text messages can be for feed use for the attendance issue if student is absent, or if a student is performing great, it can be acknowledge a message to the parents that a student is performing well to motivate them. It can be done through school information system. These days every school, like most of the schools, are using SIS, and you can done it through that, or school can also opt for auto text messages through phone calls. They can send emails or use child diary, especially for pre-primary. Communication effectively can also be done through websites, and this can be used to provide some tips to them related to the curriculum, how they can indulge, how they can contribute in child learning, some announcements related to school. So it's like communication with a purpose to achieve outcome, or make a parent feel more knowledgeable about the parent engagement. And community visits are proven great during the pandemic. Again, this can be done and used, and especially during the admission time, many schools are already using it. School can also focus a lot on feedback collection, because as I have mentioned that there is always one way communication which is happening. A feedback collection helps parents to put their views, and school can set up a feedback box or a complaint box where parents can share their things without revealing their identity. Many times they don't want to open up and share issues they are facing, or challenges they are facing, or if they have queries to raise directly with school. So such things can be utilized by school. Also, there are some free applications like Bloom's, Parent Square, Classy, Reminder, etc., which can be downloaded for free of cost and can be used by school to communicate effectively. Because communication builds this relationship, and a relationship causes retention. So effective communication is really important. Volunteering is basically help in school related activities and events where a parent can contribute. So volunteering is important because we all know that we value those things which we are indulged in or part of and have achieved by ourselves. And we also take a lot of proud in it when we are part of something and there is some outcome. So volunteering also motivates parents to engage more and more. So it's one of the most neglected part of it, of the parent engagement, but can be proven really effective if utilized and done in a proper way. There can be some really quick, easy way to do that. Schools can provide opportunity to parents to coordinate for events like ask them to do the logistic arrangements of school trip, take the responsibility of the trip, and ensure that they are accompanying a set of student or a group, whoever is going for this trip. They can also be part of exhibitions like science exhibition, some fairs in the school, fun fairs, some competitions. It can be a fancy dress competition, sports competitions, so parents can indulge and volunteer and take responsibility of these events, where they feel and it's also important for parents to feel valued, so they also feel acknowledged and valued by being part of these events. They can also be part of painting activities like wall painting, graffitis, community wall paintings. So these are some other things which parents can indulge in. They can also do a lot of logistic arrangements, and they parents also have a lot of resources, so they can help in identifying and sealing a venue for the event, or click photos for the events, take some food printouts, make the food arrangements. And they can also contribute in community awareness and run some community awareness drives in collaboration with school and parents, that is on health and sanitation, mental health, nutrition, etc. So these are the few things which school can do and indulge parent in volunteering these and try to enhance the parent engagement more and more. The other is learning at home. Learning at home, again, it's very crucial, and pandemic has clearly proven, COVID has clearly proven that there's not like there's a lot of uncertainty related to education sector now. And a parent can be an asset if like trained in a proper way, and many like there is a shift in the learning support which children used to get earlier. So learning at home is basically where a parent is assisting student in learning at home, and perform better, but that is only and easily achieved with the help of the school, where a parent where teachers and school is supporting them to do this. As we have seen in the barrier that they're not aware of it, they don't have skill set to do it. So few of the easy things which school can help parent with is help them to set a schedule and follow the routine or timetable, help them to make a timetable and follow that at home. Indulge in open conversation. Sometimes parents are not aware how to talk to the kids, and especially this is the challenge they face children once the child has started entering in the adolescence or teenagers. It's really difficult to have conversation or build that relationship at home. So they can help parents to like identify and learn how to indulge in open conversation and friendly conversation with a child at home. Talk about their friends, their interest area, how was their day, and what they are learning new, what are the skills or hobbies they have. These can be few things which parents can indulge in with kids to build the relationship. Also, there's this disruption in behavior. And this is like the common complaint which is coming from almost all the schools and teachers, that the behavior is not as what it used to be earlier. Kids were earlier in better patterns, well behaved, but these days they are more aggressive, not following request, or not following what they're supposed to do, creating a lot of disturbance. So school can also help parents to with a checklist to assess the student behavior, where a parent is observing, monitoring, and providing feedback to the student on the manner, whether they're listening or not, punctuality, how they're performing, how they are behaving. On all these things, parents can also monitor the progress. May not, there's a possibility they don't know how to contribute and help them with the content, but they can always monitor the progress, especially in pre-primary, through whether the kid is learning or not, what sort of skills they are developing, how they are learning, what is the learning pattern, and this data can also be later on utilized by teachers to help and support student better. So learning at home is beneficial for both parents as well as school, and definitely contributing in child education to great extent. It's also important for parents to understand that it's time that they should start limiting the time screen, and sometimes they don't understand that for what a kid is using the phone for. So these things can also pass on to as parents by school, that it's time that they need to start limiting the time screen, and also acknowledge the good behavior, and maybe if there are some challenging issues or behavioral issues they are facing, a kid should know some consequences of it. So for example, if a student is concentrating on study, behaving well and responding well, so a parent can reward with a treat or a ice cream or a day out with a child. But if a student is showing some negative aspect of it, throwing tantrums, getting aggressive, being rude to people around, then there should be some consequences, not punishment, but some consequences to address those behaviors. So a child will understand that it's not acceptable, and they may have to face some repercussion for doing that, and that will help teachers also to remain motivated. So these are the few things which parents can do at home to support the child, but this needs to come from the school end. Right now, parents are not equipped with these things. The other things, the other strategy which school can use is decision making and advocacy. So it's important to have this partnership between school and parents, where parents need to feel that they are being heard, and there is mutual consensus whenever a decision is being made related to student learning. They have this intent to share the voice with the parents. When the school has this intent to share the voice, like share the decision with the parents and hear their voices in the decision. So that is important. And the few things of ways of doing this is through parent teacher conferences, where some workshops can be conducted on financial literacy, child engagement at home, early childhood education, where the emphasis on making a parent more aware and knowledgeable about their child, and even their own some own growth is associated to that. Other can be an open school tour, which will there's decline in admission, which we have seen that, and parents are not still sure. They haven't seen value which is added by school during the pandemic through the online medium. So open school tour can be really useful and helpful for taking a sound decision related to the admission. So school can provide this opportunity to parents, where they're indulged in it, they're experiencing it, and then taking decision. It's important to address the conflict. So many times the challenge which parents face is they don't feel heard. They feel it's always school coming and telling what is good for the child. There's always one way communication, and there are a lot of issues which remain unheard from parents end. So it's important to address these conflicts. A helpline can be set up, or a complaint box or a conflict box, which needs to be addressed immediately. But the moment a school is creating such space, that will help parents to share and open up about the challenges they are facing, which again curve down issues related to the engagement, because many times they avoid talking to the school or communicating, because uh, they don't feel that the issue is resolved. So it's important to address such issues immediately, and that also leads to the brand building of the school. So concerns and feedbacks needs to be like taken from parents. Again, when a school is taking decisions, so for example, as a school, you are collaborating with some organization for taking a program. So for example, there is this program where school is indulging with a physical training academy, and they're indulging student in karate classes or some physical classes. which is required definitely due to COVID. The health has been impacted, and it's time to build immunity of a child. But if you see it from the parents' perspective, it's just an additional cost for the teacher, for the parents, right? They just have one unidirection of perceiving thing that maybe this is school way of making a profit. So the moment there is this feedback, the moment there is sharing of the information, the moment where we are sharing that if school is introducing such program, what's the purpose of introducing such program, whether parents are okay to be part of such program or not, what is the paying capacity, affordability, so they don't feel even pushed into taking something, or something forced on them without their consent. So it's important to take regular feedback and concerns, hear parents' concerns and their consent before school is making some decisions. Not in all the decisions, because sometimes they lack skills to contribute in such decisions. For example, maybe a parent cannot contribute in decision related to the curriculum, which curriculum a school should choose or opt for, but there are a few decisions which can always be taken together. It's important to have more and more ideas and suggestions from parents in terms of school timing, the workshops, topics, what are their dreams and aspirations for the child, what they're looking for, what skill set they want their kids to learn, or what skill set they want to learn as a parent, and how they want to contribute. So it's always a good idea to indulge parents in sharing their ideas and suggestions. That can be done through Idea Hub, by creating an Idea Hub where parents share their ideas, and this can be incorporated and implemented in school and share back with them. The other way of doing parent engagement is collaborating with the community. Communities are rich with a lot of resources which are often neglected. And again, during the pandemic, many schools were able to successfully utilize these resources and get the maximum benefit out of it. So, using the community resources to strengthen school, families, and student learning is one of the like best engagement opportunity which school can have and explore. School can focus on looking for a place with parents where they can come together, brainstorm on various topics. They can also look for a place to play. These days, there are lack of play space in the school, or there's safety concerns. There's this fear of COVID spread. So community spaces can always be used, and where children can be encouraged to play, or student can come together, brainstorm. Their parents can come together and help them facilitate. Parents also school can help in organizing community walks, marches with the help of parents, and collaborate with parents on some topics like health and sanitation, women's right, water conservation. Uh, these can be done by the parents, where they'll do these street plays, or by the students, where parents help them to script the street play, or design the entire march, the logistics of it. So that's how parents can be indulged in it. And the other most important thing is to design and facilitate change locally. So as I've said, that there are a lot of local resources available with the community which remain unutilized and underused. So a resource mapping of the community can be done, a resource identification, or the asset identification which is available in the community can be done and can be utilized. So, for example, there are students who are really good in, there are some youths in the community who are good in politics. They can help students to know and understand politics better. There are a few students who are really good at sports. They can encourage more and more sports and participation, and help the younger kids guide in the sports activities. Or there are a lot of other, there's a community, if there's a community center available, which parents will get to know, or school will get to know through the community mapping. They can figure out a maximum of, they can figure out a way to utilize that community center. Maybe it can use for a school event, or a event which parents want to conduct, or volunteering event for student or parents. So these things can be done. And also community engagement is important because it helps schools to gain more and more enrollment from the community. uh, because every time when a school visits a community, it's with the purpose of admission, right? It's important to build that relationship and then visit with a purpose. It would be easy for schools to showcase their work throughout the year instead of going only in March, April, and May for the admission purpose. And that will definitely enhance the admission rate and better responses from community and parents end. So these are few strategies which a school can use to engage parents and with school, with community, and with student for the holistic development. So here again, I'll launch another poll to understand that what are some of the strategies you would want to try in your school out of these 5 strategies which we have discussed so far. And you can also raise your hand and unmute yourself and speak up and share if you want to share something. So I'm launching a poll. You can please vote and we'll take the responses from there. Poll is launched. Please go ahead and vote. I'll wait for another 30 seconds. I'll request everyone to vote, please. School have voted, and the most vote which we have got is for communication, collaborating with the community. Yes. So I'm still waiting for some more responses, and then we'll publish the result. Most of the people have voted for communication and collaborating with the community. Yes, definitely, these two things are like these two strategies are effective. And but I'll request everyone to go and try volunteering, learning at home. Again, learning at home is really crucial and involving in decision making and advocacy. So we have also designed a handout for school, which I'll just present. Just give me a second, which we'll be sharing with school. Uh, so this is the handout which we have designed, which we'll be sharing with you at the end of the webinar. I'm not sure whether my screen is visible or not. So we have what we have covered in webinar. What is parent engagement with school, parent engagement at home, and how they can be utilized in a best possible way, and why it's important to cater. We have also focused on strategies to increase parent engagement. Here we have given a sample how you can communicate or can make the communication better. uh, as discussed that there can be some volunteering opportunities. We have given some examples of what are the events they can exhibit, and they can include parents in. And we have also added some video links in the material. If we are saying wall painting, what can be the ideas, what sort of wall paintings parents can be involved in. Learning at home, we have discussed about the behavioral checklist. So here we have again given a checklist for addressing this behavior, and which can be utilized by school or shared with the parents, followed by decision making. how schools can include parents in decision making. So through feedback form, here we have put some question together that, so this is just a sample what schools can do with parents and how they can indulge and engage them better. And for collaborating with community, again a sample video is given, that what can be it, what is community mapping, how it can be utilized, and what are the benefits of it. So these things, we'll share this material with you by the end of the webinar. So I'll go back to the presentation. And right now we have discussed the strategies and have shared some ways of doing the engagements or implementing these engagements effectively. Let's take a case study and see how these strategies will pan out for school. There's this challenges faced by Yogi Raj Tukaram Baba Gurukul School from Nashik and Morning Star School Thane during the post-COVID-19, during an post-COVID-19. Here are some challenges which these two schools have shared with us. The first one is there was low fee collection due to income loss and parents struggling to clear accumulated dues. There is less or delay in enrollment, impact on academic cycle. Academic cycle is also delayed. Parents are unsure about the admission. Students are facing learning loss, and teachers are struggling to cope up with these students in regular classes. There is high student and teacher attrition. Parents have a lot of safety concerns and reluctance to send reluctant to send a student back to school. So these are some of the challenges which these two schools are facing, and these are the challenges which other schools are facing, because at Varthana we also do research, and these are the common challenges which we are hearing from schools across India. So it's very important, once you know the challenges, it's important to identify the need. Many times what we do is jump into solution, that this is the challenge, how we can solve it, without identifying the need. What is the need, like what is something I need to solve. So we'll just see some key insight from these challenges. Okay, what are the needs which school needs to focus on? These school needs to focus on, and it can be applied on other as schools as well, depending on their scenario. So here there is like parents are not able to clear the dues, so there's a clear need of financial aid to clear the dues, and also flexible payment schedules, because these dues are accumulated now. It's School needs to focus on marketing, because there is low enrollment, or there's decline in enrollment. There is migration. So a school needs to focus a lot on marketing and reaching out to the parents, and ensuring that they're establishing the brand value with the parents. So parents are sending a student to the school. School also needs to showcase value for retention, because there is learning loss, and parents are no more seeing value in sending the student back to the school, maybe and that is also causing a lot of migration to the government school. So according to ASA report, there's an increase in admission in government school by 6-7% in past few years. Parents, the school needs to showcase the value to retain these students, and also retain the teachers. There is a clear need of addressing learning loss. Still, there was a learning gap which remain unaddressed, and school also needs to focus on reducing a teacher's burden to curb down the attrition, because not only teacher attrition, student attrition is high, also teacher attrition is high. And it's also ensure for schools to communicate that the safety norms which they are following, because schools have started taking these safety precautions, but parents are not aware of it, or they have this trust issues. So it's important for school to indulge in communicating these safety precautions to the school, precautions to the parents effectively. So a few of the ways, so we have seen the needs, that this is the challenges, these are the needs which school needs to focus on. Let's look at some possible solution. What are the possible engagements or strategies which school can use in the given scenario to deal with? First is support. So it's important that to provide some sort of financial support to the parents, because they are struggling with the finances, and because of that they are not able to pay the fee, which is hampering school operation. So it's important for school either to provide some financial assistance from their end, or collaborate with any organization and third party to provide the financial aid to families. The other is communicate effectively. As parents have not seen the value in education being delivered to the student during the pandemic, so it's important to do some assessment events and show the progress to the student and communicate those progress to the student sorry show the progress of the student to the parents and communicate those progress to the parents. So that needs to be done effectively. It's important to effectively inform, keep parents informed about the progress which is happening, the positive responses or positive behavior a child is showcasing in the school. Collaboration, again, it's important to indulge in a lot of marketing events, open school tour to increase the enrollment. School is struggling with the enrollment in this scenario, and learning at home. It's important to work with parents to reduce teachers burden, as well as enhance the student learning, because the times a student spend in the school is quite limited. It's for 4 to 5 hours. A teacher is not capable of delivering the regular curriculum, doing the revision content, foundation building. It's a difficult job. So it's important to provide something to the parents which they can utilize or help student with to learn using it. So it's important to focus on remedial education. Again, there's learning loss, and students are struggling to cope up in regular classes as well. So it's important to focus on remedial education to curb learning losses and teacher burden, as well as attrition. So these are the strategies which we have discussed above can be utilized in this scenario. Uh, so at Varthana, we also have some programs to deal with some of these issues, or can be part of these strategies which we have discussed so far. So for learning loss or for remedial, we have this program which we have offered to many schools, and we have designed it to cater the need of learning loss. So it's designed in a way where kid is able to do the revision of previous two grades. So for example, if a kid is in fifth standard, they'll be able to revise of fourth, third standard as well. It's for first to eighth grade. The material is like remedial in nature, and it's for maths and English. The program is called Unlock School Program. If like this is the first program which we are offering to bridge the learning gap. The other program is Smart Fee Program, where we are providing financial assistance to the parents through school. So it's a basically a loan for the parents, which is without any interest, and this gives opportunity for school to get a chunk of money together in the beginning of the academic year, which they can utilize effectively, which help them to run their operation and focus on academic year effectively. And there is a better fee collection with the help of this program, and school doesn't have to be bothered with the fee collection or get indulged in this process. That will be taken care by Varthana through this program. So this is the other program, Smart Fee Program, for it's a student loan. So if like anyone is interested and want to be part of any of these program or both of program, you can reach out to us at hello@varthana.com, and this is our contact number.